Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is April 19th, and today we're going to take a look at not one, not two, but three systems moving through the Pacific Northwest here in the next few days, all bringing a thunderstorm threat to the region. Today, you can see the system rolling through today. There is some cold, unstable air behind this. It'll continue our threat through this afternoon, mainly for the Oregon area, but any shower through western Washington or southwest British Columbia could spawn a thunderstorm as well, with some small hail. On the heels of that, this system's going to be blasted in tomorrow morning on the Oregon coast, and this is going to roll through western Oregon and eventually through western Washington during the day tomorrow. Look at all this cold air just spilling out over the Pacific Ocean here. And then another system is going to roll through Thursday associated with this cold air as it rises from the south back up over us, keeping the cold air aloft and the thunderstorm threat going through Thursday for the Pacific Northwest. And then we might have a nice weekend coming up here. The GFS has kind of been showing some temperatures up towards the 60s as well, and the European has been showing that for a few days now. So we'll take a look at that in some detail too. Around the rest of the country, we'll look at that briefly also here coming up. So checking out things now, you can see the fire danger across most of the western plains, the high plains up here into Colorado, Nebraska, portions of Wyoming, New Mexico, Arizona. The fire danger continues out there. Chilly system moving off the east coast here. It's from frost and freeze warnings. Still some winter storm warnings going on for New York area there. You can see the wind advisories, northern states, high wind warnings, wind advisories for portions of Montana as well as the wind advisories for southern Oregon down through Nevada and the Sierra Nevada of California. Now this is for today. The general thunderstorm threat really excludes only the Columbia Basin there in eastern Washington. But for the remaining areas, there is going to be that thunderstorm threat. Going on into tomorrow, you'll see that marginal severe risk still exists, goes to the I-5 corridor, includes Portland there. And I think this could be extended up into southwest Washington a bit, but it's close enough at this point. And you can see the severe weather threat across the plains here. There is a bit of a tornado threat for the Oregon coast into the I-5 corridor tomorrow as well. We're going to look at that in some detail coming up here. And you can see Oklahoma City is in that 2% down there, so heads up if you're traveling around there. But not an extremely dynamic system out here, but there might be one or two nice cells tonight going through the area. Tomorrow, there is that risk across mainly Kansas, Oklahoma, up towards Missouri. And you can see our general thunderstorm threat going on through Thursday. Sorry, did I say tomorrow? This is for Thursday here. This is day 3. So it's going to continue for the Pacific Northwest, including the Bay Area down there too. So they might get some active weather down there in California. It's going to extend all the way out to Butte, Montana, Missoula, portions of Idaho, including Boise as well for Thursday. Now, looking at day 4, they're calling for a severe threat across portions of Kansas, Nebraska, up into South Dakota. I was thinking about chasing this. I'm not sure about it yet. The moisture return, it might not be that good, but I might have to save my time for May. So we'll see how this goes. I'll probably decide on that after the chase tomorrow. I'm going to go down to Portland and see if I can catch a rogue tornado across Oregon there. And I'll probably live stream that too if it starts to look good. But anyway, here's the HRRR. This was the 12Z run here. You can see these showers bubble up across the region today. And check out Oregon, where they tend to be more numerous. But you can see some decent echoes going through western Washington and even up towards southern British Columbia. And then moving on into portions of eastern Oregon even there too. So heads up, eyes on the sky today. Small hail, lightning is possible with any thunderstorm that does develop. And then you can see this next storm rapidly approaching the Oregon coast tomorrow morning. And as it blasts in here, you can see some powerful segments behind the frontal system here. Now, a lot of this tornado threat is going to be contingent on getting some sun breaks behind this frontal system. We really need the surface heating, and then you really need winds to line up correctly. You need southerly winds across the Willamette Valley up into southwest Washington. If you want to get that turning at the lower levels of the atmosphere, we'll look at some soundings here in a moment too. But as we go on in through Thursday, you can see again, Thursday, the system ride back up over us as this cold air continues to pump into the region, and we're going to get that thunderstorm threat Thursday as we have very cold, unstable air aloft offshore. The HRRR goes out to 48 hours here. Now, the NAM3 cam goes out to 60 hours. You can see the showers across the region currently. More numerous down towards Oregon, but it does show some crossing the Puget Sound here. That could be a thunderstorm there too, just north of Seattle as we go on through this afternoon and evening. And then on the heels of that, there's the next system, good agreement there. And then you can see these more powerful showers moving across the Oregon coast here and trying to make their way in towards the Portland area about 0Z, which is 5 p.m. here. So again, we're going to need sun breaks, and the winds are going to have to line up correctly. And the instability is going to have to get in to the area with the wind field in a favorable position for some good low-level turning. And then we need the proper shear in these storms if there's any chance of this producing a tornado. And then you can see these segments move up across Washington. And going into Thursday morning here, you can see the really cold, unstable air behind this. You see some pretty good showers rolling up through the Puget Sound and the Willamette Valley here Thursday afternoon as well. And this extends all the way off into Montana and Idaho, as we saw in the general thunderstorm risk. And also for the Bay Area, too, there's a thunderstorm chance down there on into tomorrow as well. So big dynamic system, lots of cold air aloft here through Thursday. Checking out the European model here, this will go through the day today. This is late morning. You can see some of this lightning threat for northeast Washington through the Puget Sound. It might be a little bit, if there's not enough sun breaks down here through Oregon, they might not get much thunderstorm potential during the day today, but that's going to change tomorrow. So let's roll into tomorrow here and see what the lightning threat looks like. Now, I don't expect this to be too much of a dynamic lightning threat, as you can see here, but this kind of shows that there is that instability lurking out here. But the wind profile is favorable for fairly well organized thunderstorms, and that's what we're going to be concentrating on. Going through Thursday here, there's probably a little bit better of a lightning threat, as you can see here across the Willamette Valley, western Washington, eastern portions of Idaho, Montana. Really the entire region for Thursday has a thunderstorm threat continuing. Now here's the cold air aloft over us. Currently, this is the NAM 3KM high-resolution model. Very chilly air aloft over us. That's what's going to bring us our thunderstorm threat today. And you can see a little bit of a break there, and then the next system starts rolling in here Wednesday afternoon. And will this cold air destabilize the atmosphere quickly enough during tomorrow afternoon to bring that severe threat to the Oregon coast, which would be more late morning, and inland towards the Willamette Valley, which would be more later into the afternoon, and even in southwest Washington? And as we go into Thursday here, you can see this really cold air aloft just really overspread the region here. That's going to continue our thunderstorm threat, as we talked about a couple times already. Now, this is significant tornado parameter here. You can see this approaching late morning around noon, 1 o'clock, Oregon coast, and then this starts to move inland here across the Willamette Valley, even into southwest Washington and just maybe Olympia south here too. So that's kind of interesting there. You can see the significant tornado potential in there. And, trying to predict significant tornadoes around here or anywhere for that matter is just, it's a fool's errand, really. So this is basically just I'm looking at this just to try to determine if there is a brief tornado potential, because most likely it would be a brief, weak tornado, but we do get significant tornadoes once in a while here. I mean, in 1972, we led the nation in tornado deaths with 6, as that Vancouver, Washington tornado happened and it killed 6 people. We also have had strong tornadoes along the Oregon coast in towards Port Orchard as well. We had an F3 in Seattle in 1969. We've had strong tornadoes in eastern Washington as well. So they can happen here, and this is the time of year where they have happened before. So you can't completely rule it out, but this is nothing worth being scared about or anything. Just have your eyes on the sky. Watch for the thunderstorm potential. You're probably much more likely to be injured, driving across hail on a road or black ice overnight, or some kind of flooding scenario versus a tornado here. So nothing to fear at all through the region here. Now, looking at this is for Wednesday. What we need here to get this severe weather threat going on here is we need this to warm up through here. You notice it's 48 in Portland here at about 21 Z, which is 2 o'clock. And notice how much it warms up here. So it kind of shows some sun breaks happening there. And then the showers would move over as we go on in through the evening here. So that is what you need. You would need this warm up to happen to get us up into the mid 50s for the severe threat to happen across the area here. So that's something I'll be keeping my eye on tomorrow. And like I said, I may be live streaming if it starts to look good. Here's the European. Here's the surface winds going through the day today. We're just going to have, winds will be generally light across the region, but you can see that system really ramp up here Wednesday morning, bringing some decent winds to the Oregon coast, and that thunderstorm potential will be there. Winds and hail are also a possibility with that. Moving into the afternoon, you can see the winds are southerly there through the Willamette Valley, and they kind of even turn southeasterly as you get towards southwest Washington, and that's what you need. You need a little bit of backing winds. You want winds pointing in towards any kind of updraft going on here to get that low-level turning in the atmosphere. Now, let's look at the winds just off the surface here at 2,500 feet. You can see about 0Z, southerly winds. That's kind of what you want, even going southeasterly a little bit north of Portland there. That's kind of what you want to see as you see this big dynamic system churning offshore here. And now this is at 5,000 feet. We've even got southerly winds at 5,000 feet, which is, that could be a sign there. As we move into the afternoon, you can see it start to go southwest here, which is fine. You want that turning in the lower levels of the atmosphere. At 10,000 feet, you see they become southwesterly, which is also what you want. So there is a nice wind profile out there for tomorrow morning, but will the instability coincide with these good wind fields? That is the question. Here's 18,000 feet kind of showing you this deep trough spawning this system for Wednesday. And so this is the NAM 3KM here also. This is also significant tornado potential. And I wanted to show you the West Hills of Portland, or actually just to the west of Portland here. Check out some of these soundings coming in here. So I know this says none here, but if you turn this wind profile a little bit more southerly here, this is a very unstable profile here for Western Washington. These tops tomorrow could be over 25,000, 28,000 feet, which is highly unusual for here. A lot of our tops top out about 15,000 feet, sometimes 12,000 feet. So there's a potential for low, they still call them low top supercells, but they could be up towards 25,000 feet, which is quite dynamic here because we tend to get a lot of shear in these systems. If you look at these shear values, they are pretty good. You can see these strong winds. So the shear is not usually what we're lacking here during our storms a lot of times. And then I pulled this sounding just west of Portland here. Tornado. Look at this. You get the lower level turning of the atmosphere. If you look at a hodograph, let's do a little hodograph 101 here for a minute. You're standing here on this point and you're looking down here at the top of your head. And if you're looking north, you're looking that way. So the southeasterly winds, this kind of shows that 10 knot southeasterly, and it shows that through about the first half a kilometer, you're getting southeasterly or south winds. Then the winds start to turn to the southwest, and that's where you're plotting these 30 knots at about a southwesterly wind at 1 kilometer. 2 kilometers, you're getting a southwesterly wind at about 40 knots, and so on. So you can kind of see this hodograph paints a picture of the wind field as you go up through the atmosphere. So at the surface, we got southeasterly winds at 18,000 feet. You can see we have 60 knots, or 55 knots at 18,000 feet. Nice unstable profile. Again, you're going to be with tops 25, 28,000 feet here. This is highly unusual for Western Washington, Western Oregon to get these kind of instability profiles. So if it matches up with a wind profile like this, tornadoes are absolutely possible tomorrow. And surface relative helicity, you're looking for values between surface to 3 kilometer of 150 or greater, which you can see we have there, 262. We have plenty of shear in the atmosphere, so we're not even worried about that. 3 kilometer cape, if you get over 100, you're looking at robust low-level updrafts, and we're looking at 142 there. It's plenty. And the cape itself is up towards 1,000, which is plenty as well. And these storms will probably moving at a fair clip. 35 miles an hour, these showers are going to be blasting through the area. So if you do want to go out and take a look at these things, remind yourself that they'll be upon you quickly. So just heads up, these showers are moving pretty quickly. You'd want to go to a place with a decent view and try to pick your best spot and just kind of view from there. Rather than going on the roads and trying to chase these things, our road networks are just not made for it. It's not safe. Don't do it. So this is another sounding too that I pulled, weak tornado, just kind of another example of that these conditions do exist around the area. Now let's look at the long range forecast. And again, I'll remind you one more time, I'm going to live stream this tomorrow. So if you want to hear more about the tornado threat, just chime into the live stream tomorrow and we'll talk about it there, and we'll go over things as I'm driving down towards the Portland area tomorrow. Or my target could change towards the Oregon coast. We'll see how that goes, but I'll let you know during the chase tomorrow. And so here goes the trough going through there today. Looking at it to extend it a little bit. Here comes Wednesday's system here, that little bit of a negative tilt here, giving us our nice wind fields for that severe weather threat across western Oregon, southwest Washington. And then you can see through Thursday, this cold air kind of hangs around. Troughing kicks out, and look at this. We got a ridge. Looks like Saturday might be a nice day. Sunday would be a nice day under this kind of ridging. And this trough is trying to dig out over us here, but we might get to 2 or 3 nice days out of this ridging here going on in through early next week before the next trough settles over the area and really cools us back down. Look at that. But then, and it reinforces itself there too as we go on into early May. And look at, the GFS the European just really keeps this trough opened up on us. So this would continue our thunderstorm threat on into early May, but we would get a few nice days coming up this weekend if this does verify. And actually, let's take a look at the latest European and just kind of see how this matches up. So here goes Wednesday's system. Thursday's cold air moves out. It's showing that ridging there too for a nice day Saturday, a nice day Sunday. And then Monday, it looks like we would probably squeeze a decent day out of Monday as well before this next trough comes in. And we're starting to get out there at 144 hours where this trough may hang up a little bit longer. Maybe we'll get a third day, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of nice weather across Pacific Northwest here. So we'll keep an eye on that as we are dealing with this thunderstorm threat for the next few days. Now here's the GFS showing the trough currently and tomorrow's system, and Thursday's colder air. Trough kicks out. Pretty good model agreement there. Now you can see if the GFS was not showing this ridging the last few days, and now all of a sudden it's on board with the European model. Surprise, surprise. I don't think that is a surprise for many people who watch these weather models, the GFS bending the knee to the European here. Let's back up a little bit here. And the 060 of last night also showed it also. So yeah, looking at Saturday, nice day. Sunday, nice day. So we're going to have a good weekend coming up. The probability is increasing. Maybe squeeze another day out of it on Monday, but the GFS is showing this trough getting pretty close, probably introducing clouds and preset by this time. And the troughing stays open over us on through later April. Man, this is a persistent one too, and it reinforces itself. Look at this. We would be active. We would be getting more thunderstorms and more stormy conditions all the way through early May across the Pacific Northwest. And this would be spawning severe weather threat across the Great Plains too. So we're active here in the western portions of North America going on through early May here too. But so enjoy this next weekend that looks like it's on tap. Let's check out snowfall potential here too. As we go through Wednesday into Thursday, you can see that snow piling up on the higher terrain. Very nice. That's going to be much needed. So glad to see that in the forecast still. Now here's Seattle, Tacoma. This is the European model here. This looks for Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Look, it's up towards 60 degrees. And the way these things go, one of these days will probably into the mid and upper 60s. And this is looking like Sunday might fit that bill as we go on into this nice ridging pattern here for a few days. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday could all be in the 60s coming up here. We'll see how fast the next trough gets in here and just how fast we warm up here. But it looks like a nice weekend is coming up for the region. And the GFS is kind of latched onto that signal too before it brings the next troughing in. And then this is just kind of la land for the GFS. Not reliable at that point, but the main takeaway from that is it looks like troughing on the GFS and Euro does exist into the extended. So we'll watch that once we get towards the weekend here. We'll watch the nice weather roll in and we'll watch the next troughing system. But you can see the GFS or the European kind of cuts off the precipitation for the most part after this wet day on Thursday here. And then we kind of cut that down. But this can change. This is getting a little too far out in the forecast there. But you can see, actually, sorry, this is the 060. I thought this was going out 10 days, but this would mark the nice weekend here. So this would be the nice weekend. You can see low precipitation amounts there. And then troughing is probably going to be in the forecast after that. In fact, let's back up to yesterday afternoon. There it is. There's the next troughing here. So we would get a nice day Saturday, Sunday, and possibly Monday, but you can see the precipitation is pretty close to returning by Monday afternoon there. And this kind of shows the 500 millibar heights, 18,000 feet. This would mean troughing once you get these these ridge heights below, not ridge, troughing heights below 540. You're looking at pretty chilly air there. So then you can see the warm up coming for this weekend here as we start to build up that ridging aloft over the region. And this is 850 millibar temperature. You can see the cool air around in through Thursday afternoon. Then we start to warm up as we go on into the weekend. So yeah, models are showing that. It looks like pretty good agreement. So I've got my fingers crossed for a nice weekend coming up. But so you can see this general thunderstorm threat today moving through the region. You see that system mainly moving through Oregon, but it might keep the sun breaks down enough there. If we get some sun breaks up in western Washington, one of those showers moving through this afternoon could spawn a thunderstorm across the region. And then tomorrow's dynamic system. I'm going to go chase this thing. I'm going to live stream it. And you can see all the cold air associated with it. This thing is going to plow into the Oregon coast, and it's going to interact with a nice wind field here. So we'll see if the high resolution models continue to show this tornado threat for portions of western Oregon, southwest Washington into tomorrow afternoon. But yeah, so keep your fingers crossed for that nice weekend if you love the warm weather. And but the troughing looks like it may return in the extended. So hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Click like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow during the live stream.